Hey, what's up guys? NGS back again for another video. This is going to be one that I promised a long time ago. What else is the videos I do here? Something that I just promised you guys but I never fulfill. But anyway, today I'm going to give you guys my full first impressions on the Nintendo 3DS. And just so you've got those retards in the room who say, oh, it's fake, that's not a real 3DS. Holy shit, he has the analog pen on it and there's the camera. So yeah. One thing I want to mention is thank you for everybody who came to my USTREAM yesterday. We had about like 500, 600 people in the audience, and it was great. It was really fun. We went about 3.5 hours before we got interrupted because someone in my family had to use the computer, but that'll all be fixed once I get my modem in my room, so I'll be able to connect with you guys more. And it is currently spring break, so you guys can expect more USTREAMs. I'm planning on hosting one this Wednesday at noon if all things work out, but check my Twitter, check my Facebook for updates on when these USTREAMs are going to come out because I don't want to have to keep uploading videos onto YouTube. But anyway, let's keep going. A lot of you guys had a sneak peek of it at the USTREAM. It was probably one of my more in-depth discussions that I did because I spent like 15 minutes talking about it, and a lot of people were just like, damn, Neo, that was pretty critical what you just did. But you guys will understand more in this video. So, like I said, we're going to be dissecting the 3DS, and we're also going to be talking about Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition. So first off, the Nintendo 3DS. The number one question on everybody's mind besides the 3D is this handheld worth upgrading to? I just got a DSi. Is it worth picking up the 3DS? Should I put my amazing DS Lite in the cupboard and upgrade to this one? And I'm going to be doing what I did on the USTREAM right now. Good? Bad? What is the 3DS? In my personal opinion, guys, the 3DS ranks right about here, leaning more towards the bad, and I'm going to explain why. So bear with me, stop commenting on your keyboard, stop typing all those nasty, racist hate messages towards me, because I want to explain why I'm giving it this low of a, thumb wave. So, first I'm going to touch on the good, and then we're going to go into the bad with the 3DS. Overall, the one thing I really adore about the 3DS is its design. It feels really comfortable in your hands. It feels great. It doesn't feel awkward like other handhelds do. It overall just feels great, and I really do enjoy the the glossy finish that adds. Even though it is a fingerprint magnet, I never was one to care about fingerprint magnets, so it doesn't affect me. On the inside, you've got some additional changes from the original DS design. Like I said, you have an analog pad here, which has been worked into a lot of old DS games. It's a lot easier to play games like Kingdom Hearts 3 5A by 2 days with an analog pad instead of using the D-pad. I mean, I love D-pad, but I just think that the experience is more interactive with analog pad. And of course, you've got the widescreen display that displays the 3D effect. Boy, that sounded weird. And you've got the standard buttons right here, very clicky. The power button has been moved yet again to right here. And on the bottom portion of the screen, you've got the start, home, and the select buttons, which are one of my pet peeves about the 3DS, which I'll get onto later. But you close the system, and it's more or less the same as a regular DS. You've got the stylus up here, you've got the game cartridges right here, which I have Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition, and the only difference between the 3DS game cartridges and the DS, besides the space, is that all 3DS games have this little nook on the side so you can't insert them into a DS. I don't know why. I don't understand that, but whatever. It's Nintendo. We'll just go with it. On the side, you've got the SD card slot, you've got the volume rocker, and you've got the 3D slider. And one of the weirdest additions to the 3DS has to be the Wi-Fi button. I might be one of the only people who disagrees with this, but why is there a Wi-Fi button? You have to slide it up like you do on the PSP's power button. It really doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if you're going to put one, just put it so you can turn it on or off. It makes no sense to slide it on for wireless. But whatever. We'll just go with that. So overall, I think the design is great. And the hardware is also really nice too. The graphical capabilities of the 3DS are pretty amazing, you guys. I just found myself playing these games on it that were literally nothing we could ever achieve on the DS, The 3DS's graphics capabilities, I'm going to say they're somewhere between the PSP and the Nintendo Wii. There's kind of a line right there that it crosses. They're better than the PSP, and they're sort of rivaling certain Wii graphics, but these are early generation 3DS games, so we can't really assess how great it is going to be. We're probably going to have to wait later on, maybe a year or so, till we see, games use the full graphical capabilities. And as far as the menus, they're great. They really adopted the style of the DSi menu, so the menus are great. They're slick, they're smooth, there's nothing wrong with that. And one of the coolest features about the 3DS would have to be its augmented reality. That shit is so trippy, you guys. Like, I don't know about you, but the easiest way I could describe it is take a game like iPet or Invisimals on the PSP or on the PS3 and imagine that on the 3DS, but for free. Just the things you can do with it is just so much fun, and it's in 3D as well. It's just like, it shapes your surroundings. Like, you put something on a wall and pieces of the wall would come off and break off, revealing new things. It's just crazy. It's so hard to explain it, but I think that if you watch it or play it yourself, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And another great feature is Face Raiders. Face Raiders is also pretty fun, especially when you're on 3D. And the number one question is, how is the 3D support? Overall, I gotta say, it's pretty damn amazing, because when I'm playing Super Street Fighter 4, it feels legit like 3D. It feels like something that I've experienced in the theaters or while playing PS3. It's really great, but one of the downsides of 3D, which I know I'd save for later, is that you really have to find that 3D sweet spot. It's not like you can play like this and play 3D, or play like that and play 3D. You have to just legit look at it straight in order to access the 3D mode. And people around you can't get the same 3D effect as you, which doesn't bother me, because for the most part, if you're playing this handheld, you're going to be playing by yourself, and you don't want 20 people surrounding you while you're playing that one game. They're saying, that's not 3D! It's more of a solo experience. So, those were the good things about the 3DS. Now we move on to the bad things. The number one thing that pisses me off the most about the 3DS, where is the content? And I'm not talking about game-wise, we'll get onto that in a second, but where is all the stuff Nintendo promised us would be with this system? They made such amazing announcements about Street Pass, Spot Pass, which I know they're there, and things like Netflix come to the 3DS. You've got the eShop channel, you've got the Virtual Console stuff, you've got all these amazing things that would be coming, the web browser. We don't get that. If you're one of the early adopters of the 3DS, you're not getting that stuff. Nintendo clarified that they would be releasing that stuff with a later firmware update, which they're saying would come out May, June, July, somewhere around that time span. But the thing is, why isn't that stuff available for the people who bought it day one? Don't you want them to enjoy playing their 3DS when they get it? You don't want them to play a game, try out the 3D, and then throw it aside? Is that really what you want them to do, Nintendo? Because that's what the 3DS has given most people. You play it for a couple minutes, you see the amazing 3D effect, and that's it. There's no internet browser to check up on, there's no virtual console, there's no eShop channel, there's nothing like that. And what, we have to wait a couple more months for it to be firmware updated? That doesn't make sense. That really doesn't make sense to me, because more often than not, one of the things that really pisses me off is that in no time at all, I see myself going back to playing my DS games. Like, for example, I just bought 9 to the 3rd power, and that is a pun, of course. 9 to the 3rd power is 999. I'm not going to say the full name since I forgot it, but you guys know what that is. It's an RPG. It's pretty cool. I found myself going back to Chrono Trigger, The World Ends With You, you know, games on the DS, like, are really amazing games. And another thing, the 3DS's lineup is pretty laughable. The games it has, what, Super Street Fighter 4 and Pilot Wings are the only games out there? And even Super Street Fighter 4, like, it's a great game and all, I like it, but I can still play it on my PS3. I don't have it, but if I wanted to, I could get it for PS3 and play it. So, Super Street Fighter 4 I don't think is going to save the 3DS, because while it is a great game, you can get an even better version on the consoles. I heard it's coming to PC too. But that's it. The number one pet peeve I have with the 3DS is that there is no content for the system available. It's really bare bones. Like, you're buying this solely based on if you love the 3D. Like, you really want to see 3D without glasses. You don't want to pay so much money on the PS3 and the 3D TVs and the glasses or whatever. You'd be buying this based on the 3D factor. But if you're like one of those people who are pretty critical on your purchases, the 3DS is going to be a disappointment for you at this current moment. I'm not going to say it's a disappointment forever, because at $250, it's more expensive than a Wii, and you're not getting the same stuff on the Wii. You're not getting good games. And you could spend $50 and get a PS3 and a Xbox 360 with an extra game. So, the $250 on this, it really doesn't make sense to me. And the last thing we're going to talk about before we go is the battery life. Jesus Christ, the battery life. It sucks. It really does, guys. And I was looking around for phones for the battery life, and I thought the battery life on the HTC Inspire 4G was bad. With full 3D on, with brightness to the max, with sound, you're looking at 3 hours. That's it. 3 hours. And without 3D, and with brightness turned down a bit, you're looking at 5 hours. So this isn't something you're going to take on the road, which defeats the purpose of a handheld. Play it anywhere. If I have to charge it every 3 hours, what the heck, it becomes a console. So compared to the DSi's or the DS Lite 17-hour battery, this is pretty damn bad. So would I recommend the 3DS to anybody? At this current moment, if you're one of those people who has a DSi, has a DS Lite, I would not recommend upgrading to this because there is nothing available for it that is worth buying. There is no system saver for it, like Resistance Fall of Man for the PS3. There's just nothing available for it. If you have like $300 to waste, and when I mean waste, like you don't care, I think the 3DS is for you. Sort of. But if you're somebody who has a DSi or has a DS Lite and you're kind of skeptical, I would not recommend buying it at this current moment because the features aren't there, the games aren't there, and the price point is bad. Also the battery. The games, however, what's on the horizon? Zelda, Resident Evil, the other Resident Evil, Kid Icarus. That's when I'd say I recommend buying the 3DS, but as of now, you're better off waiting off. And when we all know Nintendo's going to put out a new revision, a 3DSi, whatever, I think that's going to be the best time to purchase a 3DS because we early adopters got the real real bad end of the stick. We took it up the ass from Nintendo. So, yeah, that's it. I really wouldn't expect Nintendo, of all people, to do this, but yeah, that's what happens, you know? So any of you guys, that was my full first impression on the 3DS. I'm sorry if I came off sort of aggressive towards it. I just kind of am, because this system really disappoints me at this current moment. I think later on is when we're going to really see the system shine with its games, like Zelda, of course. I'm picking up Zelda day one, of course. But as of now, I don't think it's worth the $250. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm GS signing out, and catch you guys later. Left-handed spirit gun.